Oh my goodness. Is this real? Is this a dream? The Buffalo Bills are headed to the AFC Championship game for the first time since I was 5 years old. Somebody has to pinch me because this cannot be real. The Buffalo Bills are going to the AFC Championship game next Sunday. Let's go. Let's go. How can you not be excited as a Buffalo Bills fan to go to the AFC Championship game for the first time in more than 2 decades? We've been waiting for this for so long. It is finally here, Bills Mafia. Get ready. Saddle up. Start drinking. Break your tables. Let's go. Sunday is going to be insane in Western New York. Whether or not we have the game in Buffalo or we have to play it in Kansas City, Western New York is going to be lit. And I can't wait. How can you not be excited? I'm surprised I still have a voice. I was jumping up and down and screaming the entire game. My goodness, let's get into it. The Buffalo Bills are headed to the AFC Championship game. Think about this. Think about how far we have come. Just 4 short years ago, the Bills held the longest playoff drought in sports altogether. In all professional sports in the United States of America. Fast forward to today. Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane have put together a culture in Buffalo that we have not seen in nearly 3 decades. It started with the first season. We get into the playoffs. We back into the playoffs. That's fine. It breaks the drought. It instills a sense of winning in Western New York and in the Bills organization. Then we draft our franchise quarterback, who has a rough rookie year. The Bills go 6-10. The following year, the defense is absolutely incredible, and the Bills go 10-6, and they lose in the wild card game, a game they should have won. All the Bills know it. Bills Mafia knows it. Coming into this year, we all thought the Bills defense would be good. Turns out, the complete opposite was true. And that the offense was the one that carried the Bills this year. Josh Allen took a step forward that we have not seen probably in the entirety of the NFL history. He took such a massive leap forward from year 2 to year 3 and put himself in MVP conversation. Right up there with Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. My goodness. I am so pumped up. I cannot bring myself down right now. I called off of work. I called in sick so that I could watch this game. To stay home and watch this game. My goodness. And guess what? It's happening next week. And if they win, the week after that. There's no way I've been waiting so many years for this. Watched so much bad football to miss it now. No way. Let's go over this game. The Bills offense did just enough to win this game. And it was in adverse conditions. The Buffalo Bills were playing, they said it was 4-mile-an-hour wind to start the game. Then they said it was 15 miles an hour. If you looked at those flags on the telecast, there's no fucking way. That wind was howling out there. Josh Allen played well, not great. Missed a couple throws, but I think that had more to do with the wind. And same thing with Lamar Jackson and the kickers. Josh Allen had a pass down the right sideline. Stephon Diggs had 2 or 3 steps on his defender, and the ball just kept sailing and sailing, and you can see it in the telecast. It gets up in the wind, and it would have dropped right in the bucket, but it just takes hold and keeps sailing and sailing and sailing. Josh Allen was 23 of 37 for 206 yards and a touchdown. That's 62% completion percentage in a game where it was difficult to throw the ball. He also had 7 carries for 3 yards. Devin Singletary had 7 carries for 25 yards. It was evident early on that the Bills were going to lean on Josh Allen, especially after what the Ravens did the previous week to Derrick Henry, a guy who ran for over 2,000 yards. They shut him down to 40 yards. So running with Devin Singletary, which is our weak spot, was not going to be a very big option in this game. So they relied on their MVP caliber quarterback, Josh Allen, and he got the job done. He did just enough for the Bills to put the Bills in a position to win this game. Stephon Diggs was his main man again, and Diggs does what he does. He had 8 catches for 106 and a touchdown on a wide receiver screen to the left. Gave the Bills a 10-3 lead, and they never looked back from there. John Brown also had a solid game, with Gabriel Davis being a little bit hobbled after an incomplete pass in the end zone. They kind of came down on his ankle. Hopefully he's good to go next week. We're going to need him. John Brown had 8 catches for 62 yards in this game, and he was also very, very good. Now we're going to jump to the story of this game, and that was the Buffalo Bills defense. Offense gets you here. Defense wins you championships once you get here. And that's what happened today. The Buffalo Bills did everything that you could do right in this game. They kept Lamar Jackson in check all game long. He had 14 for 24 passing, just 162 yards, and that backbreaker of a pick six. 101-yard pick six by Taron Johnson that changed everything in the game. Let me set it up for you right now. If you didn't watch the game, shame on you. The Ravens are driving after the Bills score a touchdown. Effortlessly down the field. Look like they're about to go in for 7 to tie the game at 10. Taron Johnson, reading the quarterback the whole time, slides right in, right where he sees Andrews, picks the ball off, and not just picks it off in the end zone, but then has the forethought to see all the green grass in front of him and take off. And you know who's in front of him blocking Lamar Jackson? Trey White. That's why this team is special. They play for each other. This is the same thing that when you look at the Bills of the past, the Bills that went to the 4 straight Super Bowls, this is what they did. They played for each other. They stayed together because they like to play together, and that's what happened on that pick six. Lamar Jackson could have made that play. Trey White made it so that he couldn't make that play. Absolutely tremendous job all around. The Bills' defensive line was solid. They had tremendous gap control all game long. The DNs did not rush too far upfield to give Lamar Jackson a lane to run through. If you watched, they surrounded him just enough to make him throw it from the pocket. And when he tried to scramble, there was really nowhere for him to go. There was a DN on both sides, and there was pressure coming straight up the middle. And the Bills' defensive line did one hell of a job all game long. They came up with 4 sacks of a guy who is incredibly difficult to sack in Lamar Jackson. They could have had more, but Jackson is such a tremendous athlete that he was able to get away from a lot of these sacks. Almost made a couple of really big plays in this game, but the Bills' defense held strong. Jerry Hughes was a monster in this game. He had 2 sacks. And not only did he have 2 sacks, but the play before, I believe it's the play before or two plays before that pick six, Lamar Jackson had Marquise Brown open over the middle for an easy walk-in touchdown. And the pressure that got in Jackson's face was the reason why they couldn't get the ball into the end zone. Lo and behold, that turns out to be huge as Lamar Jackson throws a pick six later in that same drive, later in that same sequence of plays down near the goal line, and that turns out to be the absolute backbreaker of a call or of a play for the Buffalo Bills. That is what essentially pushed the game out of reach. There wasn't a lot of time left in the third quarter, and as everybody knows, if you get ahead of the Baltimore Ravens, they are very, very beatable. Lamar Jackson does not throw the ball. He cannot lead a lot of comebacks with his arm. Not only is he, I don't want to say he's not that great of a quarterback because he's a very solid quarterback, but he is a very solid quarterback within the frame of the offense that they have, which is a very run-heavy offense, and then they can beat you over the top when you collapse down. That's not what the Bills let happen at all today. They held him in the pocket and said, beat me with your arm, because you will not beat me with your legs. That was the game plan that I wanted the Bills to take on going into this game. That's exactly what they did. Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott, two defensive-minded guys, came up with a game plan, and the Bills players executed to perfection. Another shout-out I wanted to do in this game, as my voice just cracked. That was weird. Another shout-out I wanted to do in this game is to Harrison Phillips. I noticed him on a couple of different plays, getting into the backfield, beating his one-on-one blocks, and making plays on the running back. He had a very solid game also. He had 4 tackles. But like I said, the biggest play of the year was Taron Johnson's pick six. We seen him have a pick six against Pittsburgh when it looked like the Bills were struggling offensively. Same thing happened today. The Bills were struggling offensively, not moving the ball well because of the adverse conditions and Baltimore's defense. And he comes up with a giant play. A giant play. This is the play of the Buffalo Bills year. This play is what effectively sent them to the AFC Championship game because Baltimore wasn't coming back after that. It was almost like we all knew Baltimore wasn't coming back after that. I said out loud, there's plenty of game left, but I didn't believe it because I knew that the Bills had held them in check all game long and that even if they beat them with a big play downfield, that the Bills would still hold strong and still win a tight defensive game. I said the Bills were going to win 31-20. I was way off. The Bills did, however, say that I thought that they were going to do the job and shut Lamar Jackson down, and that's exactly what they did. They shut him down. It was absolutely unbelievable, and I couldn't not put out a special episode podcast for you guys. For anybody who wants to listen to this, if you're so stoked, you just need more Bills content, I'm here for you too. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you have a fantastic week. I will come out with a preview when we know who the Bills' opponent is. And I can't wait for next week, Sunday. Remember, if you like what you're hearing, tell your friends, tell your family. They can hear me on any of the major podcasting websites, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and of course on Anchor. They can catch me on YouTube if video podcast is more their thing. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And as always, I hope you guys have a fantastic week.